Midwest, that's a work in progress, but we really have to look into that fact. If we're having 4 or 5 thousand at this point in Midwest, I'm really like I think we're in good shape. But having 14,000, let the host struggle to host and give us a good hosting, I think it's something us as president and representative from our various groups to really take a look into. So I rest that for now.
Yeah, proceed.
No, I beg, Mr. Valley. Oh, sorry. Anyway, I will talk after he's done talking.
I'm done.
Okay.
I just want to
No,
draw that because when you look at especially the refs, Mr. Gino, I'm happy he's here. We really struggle with the refs. Costed us a lot of money. I mean, $5,000 just for ref. How much did Midwest give? So I want us to really look into that. I'm just hoping Michigan can pull it, but we really have to look into those things. That's it for me, SJ.
Thank you, President, for that. So, Mr. Junior, wanted to respond to that, or you were just coming to the meeting? I'm not sure.
Yeah. No. I mean, I've been listening. So,
Okay.
yeah, I've been listening. So, yeah, no, Percy, Bali, thank you all. Thank you so much for, I mean, chiming in. Thanks to the Columbus team. You guys did a great job and such. But I know, this finance thing's been kind of contentious, right? We've kind of gone back and forth with it and everything. So I think we Midwest has been very transparent in regards to, prior to Columbus hosting, we kind of talked about, what we're offering and whatnot, and kind of what our position is in terms of finances, right? So I think Columbus, and thank you for saying that you don't think Midwest owes Columbus anything, right? So I think that's a point where we need to be on the same page in regards to the expectations, right? So thanks for bringing that up. We talked about maybe looking at what the local teams spend, right? I mean, you mentioned $70,000. It's a lot of money. I don't know where things fall in terms of what was spent, in terms of operations, right? We know what Midwest covers. We talked about the referee situation, the fields and everything, right? So this is something that we need to be really careful about moving forward. I don't think we need to change the rules of the game. I think it just depends on the local team to understand where, because we can look at all that different thing, right? We can also look at the income that if that each team is bringing after the competition and say, hey, the reason that we are making that income is because of Midwest, right? We can say, okay, there's going to be a split down the middle, or there's going to be a 10% split. So there's all kinds of things that intricacies that can come into play. So I think it's a very delicate point, and I think prior to hosting, each team should really look at what in terms of fields and look at what the cost should be, because what you get, I mean, we want quality, but if quality is given at the expense of something else, I think that's going to be an issue moving forward. So, but thanks for bringing that up. That's something that we would have to look into it again down the road. But I think Michigan understands, what our position is in terms of what we offer, and then down the road we can make some amendments, but that's going to be via constitution and whatnot. So that's all I have to say, SG. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jino, for that. That being said, do we have any other questions or concerns about the finance?
My hand has been up.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. Please go ahead.
I tried not to talk over people, so I just raised my hand.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry about that. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I was going to speak with regards to the hosting and costs of hosting. So, I mean, we've hosted Midwest, we've hosted NVT, and so has Columbus. I would say one thing that is for sure, costs are not the same across the board. But that is a challenge for us, because what is the amount we're going to set that will make sense? We might set today an amount that even Columbus will suggest, and then we go to a city where that amount is not working? You know, are we gonna then give them now their own new amount because they cannot afford it? There are certain things that we will have to definitely take an average cost and just establish, depending also on our source of income, which I think here is mostly from our club contributions. And in that light, I think we need to look into it and see, like, hey, referees might cost 4,000. Maybe Midwest is only giving 3,000, for example, and so the host will have to eat up that cost. That way, when somebody's bidding, you know the things that you're gonna eat up as cost. That's my first suggestion. And secondly, we have some pork sometimes when we are doing these events. I understand that we want to party, we want to make things look good. I'm one of the proponents of us staying away from getting artists that push up our bills. Sometimes when we get artists, they just ramp up this, bill that might sometimes be very heavy. We do have the Midwest population that could be like 200 people or 300 people that will come and party. And I'm saying this because as a host, seeing how much these social events do cost clubs that host, and trying to balance it with um, with the expenditure. Sorry, with the income. So it is pretty tough to make a decision and dictate what host club wants to do in terms of entertainment. But at the same time, there could be a bare minimum that we will need to meet up so that people still get entertained without really going overboard. Because I would say we need to look how we can really support host club to cut costs. The last Midwest that we had, without any preference or any saying somebody did less, I think that was the best Midwest competition that has been held so far. I'm not. I would say ours was a maiden one. Not that we were bad, but Columbus went above and beyond and gave us a very, very good Columbus experience, and we will forever be grateful. But does it mean? And they set the bar high. True, Michigan, you have a problem here, but does it mean that we can't do that anymore if we don't have the money? I will say if our costs, like tariffs around the world, is going up, is also going up. It's time maybe to look into the 1,000 registration. Maybe we need to put it at 1,500 to kind of support a little bit more the hosts. Those are conversations that we can have, but I think that a committee needs to look into hosting expenses and kind of see where we can kind of support the host club without also necessarily breaking the Midwest Bank. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that great contribution. That makes sense a lot. Really. So, President, do you have any input? If not,
I mean, before President comes to, I don't know if Chicago is here. Can Chicago throw us more light? Because just as the former speaker have said, this thing, it goes city by city. There's no way you will ever compare Columbus and Dayton. There's just no way. Columbus, you can spend 100,000. Dayton might want to spend 30,000. Only that one show. So I don't know if Chicago can give us a tip of the iceberg, because we know Chicago, it was good too, so that we can try to match it up. Thank you.
so when it comes to Chicago, I'll revert back to the president again. President, are you there?
Guys, I think listening to everyone, we can go back the record and try to see what was spent in Chicago. But I want to go with President Bertrand from Minnesota's idea, which is what I think the financial secretary, Mr. Humphrey, was going to present after this question. So I would let him do the next presentation, and then, maybe it might start answering some of the questions that we have or concerns, and then we can go from there. So if Humphrey is ready, he can do the second presentation of his financial stuff, and then we go from there.
Okay, let
Mr.
me,
Yankee, over to you.
yes, let me see this. Let me go to Zoom. Let me stop sharing so that I can look for that the other file. So just some look, I'll share again once I get them. Okay, so those were here.
So while Humphrey is looking, I just want to do an avant-garde of what he's going to talk about. Those concerns that you guys have, we also we have the same concerns. And so this ESCO has been deliberating on, how can we, still have the Columbus experience and not break the bank, or have the Columbus experience and, we should be able to still be able to foot the bills. So with that being said, I think Humphrey is ready. I'm going to pause and then let him take it off. Go ahead.
So yeah, so this is just a breakdown of the Midwest Veteran Tournament 2025 finances, right? So what we received, that's the 13,200 contribution from teams, and the commitment fee, that's the 1,100 we get. So we got the expenses, we gave 6,600 to Columbus, and then we spent $635 to do T-shirts for match delegates and the ESCO members. Another 690 was spent on trophies, and there was office expense. So office expense is this clipboards that match delegates were walking around with, pens, staplers, things like that. So that was about $52. And then there were, to feed the ESCO for those 3 days, the meal, we spent $320. And then the rest was just prize money, right? Best third place, runner-up, champions, MVP, top scorer, and so on. So the total amount of money we spent from that 13,200 was $10,497. So we had a positive balance of $2,703. So that's how we spent. That's how the money that was collected was spent for the tournament. So
stop that.
Did anybody say anything?
Do we have any questions?
I beg, before somebody wants to come up with questions, please, I forgot saying this. I forgot bringing up this earlier. First of all, I don't know if we can put down our phones and really give a hand of applause to these ESCOs. They are doing a marvelous job. 3 days people are putting budget for $320 to feed. I really want to say you guys are doing a marvelous job. Thank you, guys. I don't know what I can really say. This, I really appreciate what you guys are doing at your end. Trying to cut costs at the minimum level. I'm sure if it was Columbus, let me say if it was Columbus that was to run this, I'm sure we would have been going at a deficit. So we have that amount in our coffers. It's thanks to you guys, for
I am not sure if what you said, if Columbus was the one doing this, would have been in deficit. Did I hear that? I'm not sure.
President Valley, can you just give 1 minute, let him finish his
anyway,
congratulations.
it is in a positive, Mr. Valia, it is in a positive mood. To just know what I'm just trying to say is that the guys were trying to pinch, they were not, like, for example, as I said, office expense is $52. I remember even coming up to them and asking for papers. They gave me like 12 papers, which I'm not sure that one was worth even in their bill. All I'm just trying to say is that they did very, very good trying to minimize cost to the best of my knowledge, which I personally am very, very grateful with the way they are doing stuff. That's just what I'm saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
But the statement of mentioning Columbus doing this would
No,
have been read is not a
that
good
is-
one.
that
That's
is-
what
that
I
is
would
just-
say.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm not
That is
okay,
sure.
just
I'm
what
sorry.
that is just what I want
What
to
was the purpose of
call.
that side comment?
Yeah.
No,
It
anyway,
wasn't, it wasn't
that's
just,
okay. Okay,
Well,
I
okay.
don't
Anyway,
think
let me
gentlemen,
again. I'm just trying to say that it is in a positive. It is in a, let me say, it's in a positive way. For example, let me say if it was Columbus that was say, okay, Columbus can run all these NVT, maybe Columbus then would have said, hey, Master, this new let me say, man, this
Mr. Roland,
CD.
it's okay. Your point was heard, and I know that
Anyway, thank you.
everybody understood what you're saying. It's just unfortunately, the side comment came a little bit wrong. So we apologize to Columbus for that, and I hope let's just kind of like move on, please.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
President. I think I'm
that's
just
good.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Papa.
yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry,
I'm just gonna leave it like the president said, but I don't think anyone here can tell Columbus how to manage their finances. We're not asking for any, like I mentioned earlier, if we're here to build Midwest and Columbus, what Columbus did, I mentioned earlier, not every team. Columbus have a strong team, we can pull whatever we want to, but not every team. I'm just sitting here and I'm saying we have to look into moving forward. That's just what I'm cautioning us here as president to look into moving forward to help the hosting team. President Betcha, I know you mentioned about the nightlife and stuff. I just want the team to look at the cost at the field. It's not your nightlife is your business. If a team go to bring 20 musicians, but the cost at the field, getting the field, the basic thing that we need to cover to assist the host to make sure we get it better. We keep going, we keep moving forward. Thank you.
So, Mr. Humphrey, please proceed, and then we'll come back to that whole conversation.
Okay. So during the Midwest tournament, so I happened to work as the financial secretary, and also I'm working on the operations with Gino. So we struggled a lot in the last tournaments to get match delegates, which I think is something we need to look into going forward. So we requested 2 match delegates per team. Some match delegates, some teams had just 1 match delegates. We understood the situation, for instance, from our brothers. She said they didn't have any match delegates. Yeah, so we were struggling. Gino and I had to go do games sometimes because of absence of match delegates. And even the match delegates that were there, we had decided to make everything fair. So you will not be a match delegate for your team, or if we like New Boys, Vetstar, we understood they're from the same city, they might know each other. So we try to avoid some kind of conflict of interest, like putting a New Boys member as a match delegate for a Vetstar game and things like that. So we tried to mix that up, and it was some people complained that they could not watch any game their teams were playing because they were being match delegates. And then another thing also, I think it was unfair on the part of Midwest that we had this match delegates doing this very important duty of making sure that the games start on time, the IDs are valid, writing reports, incident reports that happened during the game and things like that. And we did not offer them anything no motivation, So some of us actually had to, I know I did it, buy food from us for some of the match delegates. I know President did it, so we kind of like those, some of them kept coming to the office and saying like, hey, I'm doing this thing. You guys cannot even give me money for food, because we had not budgeted for that. We had to do it out of our own pockets. So, but this year we want to do something different, which we want to motivate at least people to be match delegates. You don't want to have people who are not motivated or who are not happy to go around and do this thing. These guys play a very important part of the during our games. So if we look at how many games we actually played in Colombo, so let's say we have 12 teams, including the over 40 game. We played a total of 26 games. That is from the group stage to the final. So for each of those games, we required at least two match delegates. So what we're proposing, what we discussed during our EXCO meeting is that we at least motivate these guys by giving them $25 per game per match delegate. So that will bring the total cost of match delegates to around 1,300. So this is a cost that we did not see in the last tournament, but it's one of the lessons learned from the last tournament, and it's something we are trying to improve on going forward by actually giving these guys a reason to be match delegate and also help them to be at their best when they do these games. So that's the proposal that we discussed during the EXCO meeting, and we want to present it today to the Midwest Advisory Board for your input.
So, guys, while you're trying to put your thoughts together for questions and answers, regarding this proposal, we felt that, again, that's why I said that, maybe with this little presentation, it might start answering some of the questions like the one President Bertrand mentioned that, maybe it's about time we look at the cost. We look at our income, our source of, the money coming into Midwest and how we could spread that across the board to have a successful tournament that is not financially challenging to the host team. So if we have like this increase in or bringing in this stipend for match delegates, that will help to manage the game. If we have a successful game at the field, everything else is going to be successful. We've seen that every time that we don't have any there are disputes in the field about red cards, yellow cards, this and that. It affects other stuff, down the road. So we're trying to make sure that Midwest should have a successful tournament by having the successful games at the field. So with this, if we break down this cost to all the 12 teams, I think it's probably like maybe what, 90 something dollars. Probably my math is not that good. That will help to give match delegates stipend. Then they'll be able to show up on time, be there ready to do the job. Again, we can also talk about the referees. If what we're giving right now is not sufficient enough, please bring out ideas. How can we, do this as a group to, make this tournament successful? So to chime President Vali's concern, you're saying that the budget needs to be reviewed, but what we're asking from every president here is we need ideas, we need opinions, we need numbers that can help us together make an informed decision. So with that, I will leave the floor open for everybody else to, say something or ask questions.
Let me go first, gentlemen. And this is President Beto here from Vesta. I was just listening to, I think Humphrey say the match delegate budget was 1,300. Is that correct?
Yes.
If we do
That's the proposed budget.
Does that
Yeah,
include their
so
meals,
it's
or we're just talking about the $25 per game?
No, we give them $25 per game. That's it. We are not giving them any meal or anything. So we did not have meals last year, President Beto. So some of us actually volunteered to give them.
Because $1,300 and $25 per game, it's like
you have
52
two match
games.
delegates per game, right? You have two match delegates per game. So it's $25 per match delegate.
Oh, so it's like 26 games.
26 games, yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's all I wanted to ask. Please, when we talking about this budget thing, also know that even I would say maybe it's people might not be really been enjoying what we're enjoying. I don't know what I'll call enjoyment for Vesta, but we've won this twice back to back. The money in that winning thing is $1,000. I think it's time we review this budget thing entirely, because I'm also of a proponent that it should go up to at least $2,000. You can't be spending about 10,000 to bring people there for $1,000. So that's some of the things that maybe a team will win tomorrow, and then they look at it and say, "Hey, what did we just do?" You know, it takes a lot to carry your members there, feed them on those days, do all the logistics for $1,000. I know this is for pride, but there should be a little bit of meat on that bone. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, Presi Beto. Yeah, SG, can I go for a sec?
Yes, please.
Okay, so yeah, so in terms of this money thing and whatnot, and Presi Beto just brought up a very good point as well. Yeah, so we kind of have to look at that. We talked about sponsorships, right? So we as this group, we have to come up with some really good ideas and find those sponsors that can sponsor those trophies, those type of things, so that way we can kind of increase, bottom line what we give out to teams, right? That's something that we've talked about. That's something I've talked to the president about. That's very important, right? We can get folks to sponsor this event at the Midwest level for a certain amount of money, depending on what we do in terms of marketing. So that's something that, is kind of dear to my heart, something that I'm actually trying to bring and integrate. I'll be integrating with the NPT as well. That's going to bring us some money, and then that way it's going to be lesser for clubs to spend more money, right? In terms of, well, I'm not seeing the value. At the end of it, it's all value proposition, right? If I'm spending $5,000, I'm only getting 1,000. Again, it's our thing, right? Those are baby steps, but I'm also on the point where each and every one of us has to take this very important back to our communities in terms of sponsorship for this organization. So that's just what I want to throw in there. It's very important. Yes, we got to look at it, but it's all of us working together. It's not one person.
Excuse me if I'm ignorant. Are we a 501c3?
I don't know yet, Percy. Not yet, right?
Not yet.
I think we need to get that going ASAP so that I can bring us some money.
Yep.
That would be the blocus right there if we're not, and then people find ways to give money that they would not write it off. It's hard.
Exactly. So that's something. So those are some of the things that we need to start working on and start talking about. So.
Okay, Treasurer here. Can I say something?
Yep.
Okay, those are very good points, and I think those are the second step before the first. With all presidents present here, if we keep saying this thing is our thing, we have to make it our thing first. So what I would suggest is, we as presidents pick this thing up to 1,500 before we start bringing up sponsors. Let's go back to our various teams and cry, and spread the cry with them and say, hey, the cost of this thing we're all enjoying is gradually outweighing whatever. So you guys should please beckon with us, and let's together tweak this thing up from $1,000 to $1,500 before we start. We know that bringing sponsors is kind of a very serious game. We just said that we do not have a 501c3. Bringing sponsors would be kind of tricky. So let's first of all raise the cry for maybe send the cry out there to our presidents to make sure we raise this registration, and that would be the first step for me. I don't know what we think about that.
So, this is Cromwell Zama from Michigan. So I don't know if I can say something here.
So, go ahead.
So, I think we need to really start also looking at the teams that the commitments that our teams already have. Suggesting to raise the fee to $1,500 might be a burden to many teams, because obviously Midwest is just part of the whole. So we have our NVT too. So if you talk of a year, how many dues do each team contribute and the rest of that? So we should be very careful, so not to try to deter some teams to start participating in Midwest. So we should be very careful with increasing the amount. For me, $1,000, it's okay. I know Midwest needs funds, But to me, we have to look at the whole as a whole. Say, okay, if we increase it to $1,000, are we going to deter many teams from not even participating, or this? So we really have to be very careful. I totally oppose
Okay,
that.
no, let me respond. Let me respond a little bit of what I was trying to say. What I'm saying is, if you are the president of Michigan, take it back to your club and discuss that with the club and see what they say and bring. I'm not saying that the president should, hey, all of a sudden just raise that amount to 1,500. No, let's take it back to our various clubs and throw it out there and see what hear what they say about it before we come back and make that decision. That's just what I was saying.
I mean, we are representative of our clubs. Okay, so we can basically with certainty speak on behalf of our clubs. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, that yes, I can take to our club, but I'm telling you about the reality.
Okay.
Yeah, so yes, I can take it to my club, but I'm telling you that we should be very careful not to try to alienate clubs that may just say, you know what, it does not benefit the club to spend all this money and then go to NVT, spend all this money, and then so we should be very careful. That's all what I'm trying to say.
This is what I have to say, gentlemen. I think I hear this the gentleman talking as a deterrent, but also understand that if we don't put the amount up, there might not even be the Midwest. That's the other side of the coin. Because as much as it could be a deterrent, everything, tell me, even you in your household, what you've gone to the store, that has not been more expensive. Everything has gone up. These fields are going up because things are going up around the world. We are not just saying we should just add money. It's the cry from hosting this, as President Vali said, going up, and we cannot. There's a process in place to decide that amount. I think the process is for the MAP to vote that in place. If that is suggested and somebody puts a bill, I think that is the process, if I'm not mistaken, and then it gets voted, and then they will take it to the club and say, hey, gentlemen, after a vote in the NAP, the registration for Midwest has gone up, and these are the reasons.
Presi Beto. Thanks for that information, Presi Zama. Thanks for that information. I think what I was trying to interject is that there's a process in place, right? So I think we kind of get a little sideways right now. So SG, I think we stick on kind of what we proposed today in terms of what we talked about for the match delegate thing. The other things can come in, through proposal for changes, right?
Okay.
For constitutional changes and things like that. So there is a place for that. So let's try to stay on course, right? I mean, when we drafted this thing, we kept in mind that at some point it's going to change, but everybody will have a vote. So I think let's not get a little sideways in regards to bringing all those different things right now into it, though. I mean, I don't want to undermine anyone's view, but I just think, just when we have a meeting, let's just stick to the meeting plan, kind of get to it, and then, work that plan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gino. Actually, we've touched almost every point already, and
somebody's hand from Chicago is up, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I'm not seeing this. Okay, please go ahead, Mr. Emma.
Hi guys, greetings. Yeah, I've gotten everything, but I feel the first step that you guys were trying to take make more sense to me, because even if we need to increase the amount, we need to itemize everything. Just like you made mention of the match delegate fee, you put a column so that when we are coming back or taking it to the club to deliberate, at least, we try to itemize everything that is it to come up with the amount of money. But see, to just go to the club is like, things are not working for the Midwest, we need to increase the fee. That is going to be somehow a little bit difficult because you need to be answering questions. Why this, why that, why not? So I believe even if we are going through that route, we put everything in the spreadsheet, itemizes, this this time, last time we didn't have about like match delegate fee, but now due to some difficulties, we have created that is just like $50, blah blah blah. We put it that would be conveniently for us, to take it back and try to deliberate and work on it. That is just what I have to do. That is just.
Thank you, President. So we've listened to various speakers. President Emma is suggesting about itemizing and putting out an Excel sheet on proposed expenditures we incur a year, and see how we can go from there for the process to take it back to their clubs and present that this is a reason why we're increasing. But I think also at the same time, Mr. Humphrey already did a presentation and explained why we're requesting, or we're trying to look into the fact that we should increase the amount by 100, but other clubs are proposing that it should go up by 400. So to come up to 15 instead. Anyway, I'll give the president the floor to conclude on this while we move on.
Yeah, thank you, SG. I think everybody has made again very valid points. What we want to beg those of you that are here, and we'll put it out in the MAP forum, is that please, if you have any ideas on how to make this better, do not hesitate to share with any one of us, so we can deliberate on, put it together in whatever way, so bring it to the group for approval. Again, we've talked about, the match delegate. Maybe now, we have the referees. We talked about, increasing the amount that we give to the host club for the fuel and other logistics. All of that, please. All we're asking is just bring ideas. Let us know. Hey, if we increase the fee from maybe 1,000 to 1,100, maybe each club can pay $10 in addition to what they're already paying, stuff like that, so we can all put our heads together and make this work. With that being said, I think I also want to let the club know that operations also have a say. I don't know if the SG put that in the agenda. Just to give us an overview of their activities from now to the next tournament, what they're going to be doing, and how, just for transparency's sake, because we know Gino, we had promised that this year we're going to check the fields. We're going to make sure that everything is okay. They'll have meetings with the hosts, presidents, and stuff like that. So I'll give Gino the floor to give us an overview of their plans for what they're preparing, for the tournament as we go forward. So, Gino, if you have.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can,
Okay, yeah. So hey guys, Presi Valley, I just want to start by saying thank you and Columbus for hosting us during Midwest Veterans Tournament 2025. I think we had a very fun. It was a very fun event out in Columbus. You guys did a great job in Cincinnati for NVT, right? So those are two separate things that since I'm part of both organizations, I want to say you've done an incredible job, man. It's not easy. It was fun out there. Yeah, there were some little lessons learned, which was great. We've taken those lessons learned and we're going to be applying those down the road. Presi, Ayok, thanks again for giving me the floor, the opportunity to kind of share what operations is going to be doing. I just want to again also thank my able co-partner, Mr. Humphrey from Michigan, doing triple work as part of operations as well as financial secretary. Humphrey, man, I wouldn't have done this job even at the NVT level without you, man. So thank you so much for everything you've done. In terms of what we're planning to do, is we saw the success of utilizing a digital platform, right? So we did the Copa Facil, and we were able to use the Midwest tournament as as a hosting ground for what we did in Cincinnati for NVT. So that worked. So we kind of that was kind of our in play to Copa Facil to see how it would work. That actually worked well. So we'll continue to utilize the app for future tournaments down the road. Myself and Humphrey, we're going to be trying to get in contact with the developers to see if we can customize the app and make it kind of our own. There's some things that we need to see added on there to make it much easier for us to utilize. I'll be doing that at the NVT level as well. So that's one thing that worked for us from my operations perspective. In terms of the fields, what we proposed or what we talked about during the ESCO meeting was that operations would be visiting the hosting team to just visit with them as we've done in the past. I think we did that visit with Columbus last year. We're going to carry on moving forward to make sure that the facility that the hosting team is going to be presenting it's kind of meets our guidelines. So we have a checklist of fields, size of the fields, playing ground, those type of things that we need to check to make sure that it passes our inspection. So we need to do that before it gets super cold out there. So I was talking to Michigan, and they are proposing for us to be out there, by mid-November. So this week I'll come up with some dates that I'm going to propose to Michigan, and myself, and I think Frank Ambange, who is also part of operations, and a few other folks that want to join us to go to Michigan to visit with them. At that point, we'll be looking at the facilities, the playing grounds, and all those type of things, just to make sure that they meet our requirements. And then we will present the findings back to MAP and then to the general forum. And then from there, if everything goes well, then we start our planning in terms of team registrations and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll go from there. So that's kind of what we have in play. I mean, it's kind of a slow time, but the first things to do is to visit Michigan and make sure that they match the checklist that we have on file. So I don't know if anyone has any questions.
I just want to add that so this is an official visit from the Midwest tournament. I don't know how it was done last year, but the Midwest part of our finance, we would be financing the trip, right? But
Yes,
not for everybody. So we are financing specifically for operation.
Operations.
That's
yes.
what I want to clarify.
Yes, operations. Yes, operations. Yes, not for an entire. Yeah, just for operations. Correct.
Okay. So now I think just to clarify so that everybody is on board here. So operations for Midwest has been myself, you, Frank, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it means from operations perspective, I'm out. I have a conflict, right? So it's gonna be you, Frank, and President, right? Visiting Michigan to.
That is
I'm
correct.
talking about the people that will be financed by the Midwest tournament. Yeah.
That's correct. And Presi can confirm that as well. But I believe that's correct.
President, can you please confirm?
Yes, that's correct.
So when I
Okay.
have money, if I not there, when I never go.
Let me ask this. Let me ask this. I know that this trip is just to check the fields and the logistics, and we are crying about money. And Humphrey is already there in Michigan. Do we really need 3 individuals,
Right.
including the president, to go? Because
Right.
this is sometimes the way we're trying to thin pork out of stuff.
Right.
We can have 2 people go, and because I know they'll pay, if I'm not being mistaken, yeah, your flight is taken care of, your hotel is taken care of, and your feeding. But again, trying to say we don't have money and see where we can save money, I think it's only a good idea.
Yeah, President Bertrand, no, very good point. And again, it's up to the president to decide. I mean, Humphrey's already there, correct? But Humphrey's there's a conflict of interest in regards to Humphrey being there in terms of, I mean, he knows what we're looking at. And we can, I mean, we can say, yes, let's just go with what Humphrey's proposing for us from Michigan, right? I believe Humphrey knows what I'm looking at and what we're going to be looking at. So I think we got to be fair and consistent in how we do things, right? So if we're gonna go to another state next year and Humphrey
Let me
finally
ask my
do,
question more directly. Is there a need for you, Gino, to go, Mr. Abange to go, and the president to go, three of you, to meet Humphrey there?
no, I don't think there's a need. I mean, personally, and to be what do you call to be open, right? Yes, I don't think three people need to be there for sure. But again, it's up to the president. You know, I think operations, from an operations perspective, the operations team need to be the ones checking out the facility and whatnot. So the president, in the capacity of the president, has the I don't say the authority. I'll leave it up to him to decide. You know, that's where he comes into play as well. But I think from an operations perspective, the operations team is the one that that's responsible for taking care of the action. So
I agree that the president has that prerogative, but in this era that we're crying money, I think you guys can make a decision for just two people to go, whether it's a president and a member or it's the two members of the operations. I think it
okay.
only makes sense for me to save money. I mean, I rest my case. That's just me.
And
No,
actually,
absolutely.
yeah, I was gonna come in out, Mr. Bertrand, you have a valid point. I think in terms of, let me put it this way, your concern is very valid. We'll look into it and make sure that we keep that in mind. So we'll work it out on the back end, and we'll give the findings to the group. In terms of this concern that maybe I could step back, or Frank could step back, but we know that we want Gino to go. Initially, the whole plan was Gino to go, but we didn't just want him to go there by himself, so we needed somebody else to accompany him. So that concern is very valid. We'll look into it, and then we'll go from there.
Thank
President
you.
Beto, on the other hand, don't even worry. That wouldn't get cheese. They will furnish their trips. Don't worry about it.
Well, I think it's not just about this time. I think for me, guys, I deal with structure for a long haul. What we do in 2025 should be the same thing we do in 2030. So people don't come and say, hey, why is it this time we are doing it differently? These things are just operations and processes that we're trying to put in place for our young organization, just so that in the near future, if somebody they're telling him, hey, is the president and the two-member operation going, it's no surprise. That's how it has been, If we're saying, oh, no, it's just the two operations people going, it's no surprise. That's how it has been. Or it's the president and one operational member, it's no surprise. That's how it has been.
You're
So it's
absolutely,
just for consistency.
yeah,
And I agree with you with all what you guys are saying. I'm just trying to take pork out.
yeah, President, you're absolutely right. The thing is that at the same time as we're growing, there's most of the things we have to tweak. Most of those things we have to tweak. If three people going has to weigh on us financially, then we have to find a means that we have two people to go. Next year, if three people have to go, maybe we would have grown financially and we'll come back to standards.
Honestly, I don't even see a situation where three will have to ever go when we're dealing with 40 plus teams, and it's usually a two-man trip at the national level. I rest my case.
Okay.
So, guys, again, nice conversation here. So we know that last year when I went, it wasn't something funded by Midwest. So again, it's operations, and you made a very valid point. We'll definitely look into it. We're trying to save the most we can. That way we can increase other more important stuff for Midwest. So great concern and great point, and that has been taken note.
Yep. Okay. All right, guys. Any additional questions for operations?
No.
Yes. When is this trip supposed to happen?
So I will be letting it will be before the 15th of November. So I have to go through my calendar. I've just been really tied up years after the NBT with just a lot of stuff, work and all kinds of stuff. So I will be looking at my calendar, and I'll be reaching out to the Michigan team to let them know. But yeah, I'll let them know by the end of this week when it's going to happen. So it's going to be before mid-November. At least I want to get out there when I can still see the fields, although the fields are not going to be in a very perfect condition because they've been played on all year, but at least it will give us, a good view when it's not snow covered and everything, you know what I mean, and everything. And then that way we don't have to go back, in spring where sometimes, the ice doesn't thaw until like April, May, and then we play in May at the end of May. So I'll get out there hopefully by the end of October, early November.
Sounds good. Good idea.
Thank you, Mr. Gino, for that. We on other matters.
Perfect.
Can I bring out a topic for other matters? One of the things that came up during one of our meetings this year was the bereavement, insurance or our contributions that we can make in case, God forbid, we lose a member. So I know that all the teams here, except probably one or two teams that are not part of the NVT, are aware that there is a bereavement fund for NVT. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory doesn't serve me right, that President Bertrand of Minnesota had mentioned that. Why do we still want to have an insurance for Midwest when we as a club are still covered by the NVT? So in that regard, I'm thinking that we should put this out there, just keep reminding teams that NVT has an insurance that is covering 25,000 in case we lose a member. And, we're fine tuning some of this stuff, but I want to, bring it here that maybe we should look at that part of taking away our Midwest insurance program that we have right now, which is what, 7,500 in case we lose a member, stuff like that. Probably take that out. That will help teams to save money and just concentrate on having the NVT bereavement fund as part of our Midwest contribution. Because if something happened to a Midwest member, that member is probably an NVT member too. So if NVT is covering, then we as Midwest team, we don't have to double pay for NVT and pay here. So I wanted to bring that up as a way of, seeing how we can save money and still achieve a goal.
It makes sense.
President, I want to say something. Yeah, so I think you just mentioned that there are some teams that are not part of the NVT, but they're part of the Midwest, right? So I just think it will be kind of unfair to those teams. So let's say we find ourselves in an unfortunate situation that a member from such team, what we are talking about affects a member from one of those teams. So how does Midwest come into play? So I still think that we can still do something, right? Even if it's not, even if it's not the 7.5, we can think about reducing the amount. But I just think that us as Midwest, we should still have something that is ours, and we also have to consider the fact that there's relegation at the NVT level. Teams get relegated, right? So it could happen. That's not what we are hoping for, or that's not what we would like to see. But a Midwest team could get relegated, So now we're talking about probably just 2-3 teams that are not yet part of the NVT. That number could grow, or the Midwest could grow in itself, right? We are looking at other teams in other states that could join the family. So I still think that part of being, part of a group like this is, having those kind of things in place. So I think Midwest should still have something.
I do agree with your opinion, which is very good. Again, I'm just putting it out there so we can raise awareness and start a conversation, because this particular thing about the insurance really bothered me a lot. All of this year we kept asking members, send the names, this and that, and teams just flat out ignore us like it didn't even, we're just speaking in a vacuum. So it's something that we're bringing out there so teams know that we have one. We've not removed it yet. It's still part of our bylaws that in case something happened, this is what we as an organization would contribute to that family. So we should, if we want to keep it, fine, but we should still create the awareness and let teams know that they should be part of the program. That way, when things happen, they're not looking like, oh, ESCO is trying to be this, ESCO is trying to be that. They should also take responsibility and be part of the program. So just bring it up.
Can I say something, please, with regards to that?
Yeah, go for it, President Bertrand.
Yes, so this insurance thing, I'm also of the opinion that we should have to, but before you see the NVT putting this bereavement fund for $25,000 benefit, it is not easy, especially this year, as you guys know, how much we've contributed to deaths at the level of NVT. And the question that I'm thinking we stick to NVT right now is, we just had a gentleman complain already about registration going up. Think about any more deaths now happening if we just have like 2 or 3, God forbid, a year within Midwest. It puts more financial pressure on teams. And why don't we just wait, put this in a pause, put it in the freezer, and let this NVT one unfold for a couple of years? Then we can talk about this again. For us to try to boost our finances by looking into increasing registration, and again, at the same time, looking like we should have some kind of, death benefit, we could be shooting ourselves in the foot financially and not putting ourselves in a position where it becomes very tough. So if any team who is not part of NVT, we could look at a token that this is what happened. It should be a token. It should not be something like that is worth calling a death benefit. But looking at a whole detailed program that we can put in place for Midwest, I would suggest that let's wait till the NVT one rolls out and we'll see what it looks like. I rest my case.
Yeah, so Presi, So Presi, I'm with you on that as well. But I also think that this death benefit program, if we have something for Midwest, it's something that's going to be attractive to. Humphrey mentioned that there are some teams that are not part of NVT, right? So, this is our own thing. And I understand the financial pressure. Believe me or not, man, there's way too much financial pressure. Like I'm sitting here right now, there's just a lot going on, right? It's not just me, but people have personal things going on as well. So, and the last thing people want to do is just be, it's always digging. We're not calling that somebody's going to die today, but you never know, right? So I think, yes, we go with, I think the NVT one is, the NVT program is really big, right? But the Midwest program, we should have something, right, that can also attract new teams. We can sell this program to new teams, right? They're not just coming to go have fun as part of the NVT, right? Right. So this is something that we can, presidents or the new potential teams can bring to their members and say, hey guys, hey, we join this organization, but this is something that we have that's a fallback to, right? I mean, I pay life insurance. Am I going to die today? I don't know, but it's just there for security purpose. So the teams that are not members of NVT, they can take advantage of ours as part of Midwest. But no, I get your point. So, I mean, the biggest thing you brought up, which is great, is just the financial liability or the financial challenge that teams have to go through, right? Pay registration and then, and then pay into that fund as well. So maybe we look at retooling the fund to make it much easier and have it in place, down the road and sell it as, because I can sell it to my team as well and say, hey guys, we have two policies. We have the NVT policy, which we're trying to sell as much as possible. And then the Midwest policy as well. So that's just what I take out of this whole thing.
So if I can chime in, here, this is Valley again. Pretty much before I get to the bereavement, I'm really that's something that really goes dear to me when it comes to having this for our members as we move around. Before I say that, I just want to use this opportunity on other matters to thank the Midwest, to thank this body for the support to Columbus during the Midwest and also during the NVT. President Bertrand, I know, and I'm not sure how many times I had to call you just to talk to you. Gino sitting there again, Thanks for all the help. We did Event Connect, thanks to you. I know you're working on that being a major platform for NVIDIA moving forward. That's all what we pray for. It was tough at the beginning, but at the end of the day, it's the platform that we keep pushing everybody to. As we are Midwest, maybe in Michigan, will do better than we did in Columbus with the Event Connect, but it's just a way we see how we grow from where we've been as NVIDIA and where we are today. Again, special thanks, President Akat. The Exco year, I just want to thank everyone, all the presidents and representatives here today, that we could not have pulled this in Cincinnati. It was tough for Columbus. We went out of town, we did it, and it's thanks to all the support from various groups. So I just want to use this opportunity to say that. Coming to the bereavement, again, while we're trying to still, I'm not sure if we're going to have 12 teams coming to Michigan. So that's something that I want us to really still keep in mind. Right now, with NVT, each team is paying $250 for bereavement. We talked about 7,000 plus. The president said for this bereavement with Midwest, we might drop that down, but at least have something in place. Why not go with the 250 that NVT we're having now and put that at 3,000 if we have 12 teams? I think it's something than nothing for especially the clubs that are not in NVT. We have to we have to make them belong. And we have to make sure Midwest have something to sell as Midwest. Those are just when it comes to that bereavement. I would say we can drop to the 250 we're doing now with NVD. It's been a lot of contributions this year. And all of us can attest that having this benefit that is coming come January 1st. I know President Cat is part of that team and no team is sending list. They will. I'm talking that I'm really selling that with my team. And I've told everybody we have to be part. There's no option. We have to be. If we all move around with drink, we should be able to have at least something for some of our members. A lot of us have benefits, a lot of us that life insurance, but not everybody. And we struggle in certain cases we see. So it's very important that we protect each other as a unit. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I say something, SJ?
Yes, please.
Yeah, thanks so much. I wanted to speak, but I forgot that I muted my microphone. Just like what President Valia said, and Gino, I really appreciate, because if you look clearly, these are two different jurisdictions. They are two different organizations, even though we have the same goal. And most often with the NVT, when you see them, when they come, they present their envelope. You see the whole community is like proud. People are like, you know what? This is an association they want to belong. And I believe we need to have that same stuff also with the Midwest, because the presentation for those type of things matter a lot to the family and the community. Just like President Vali said, if we can drop down the amount to make it at least comfortable for all the teams, it will be good. But I believe and I support that we should still maintain something just to keep the goal and the organization moving forward. That's my suggestion.
So in essence, all the teams are like majority is saying we should have something in place, but just look at bringing down the amount. So you shouldn't be heavy on the teams. President, any conclusion on that?
Yeah, I think that's a conclusion that we'll sit back and review that and propose new budget for the bereavement fund and put it out to Midwest for approval. So if we'll put the current one and see if we'll bring something else that is lower than what we currently have and see what is being approved, and then we go from there. So yes, that's the idea I'm gathering from everybody. I think with that being said, we are at 8:49 p.m. So we already passed the time, so we should be wrapping up in the next 10 minutes.
Can I say something regarding this, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. So are we okay? We I don't know if I missed anything, but are we going to encourage our Midwest teams to to try to see how they can participate in this NVT bereavement fund, because this is something that we really have to talk about.
I think, President Zama, if I may, it's the prerogative of each of the teams to be able to participate in what relates to the NVT. Now, for Midwest, we were just trying to put the idea out there if there's a need for change, and based on what we've gathered from the various presidents that are here today, is that yes, we have to have our own bereavement fund, which we already have in place for Midwest, but maybe we should look at the possibility of reducing that cost from the amount that is proposed amount now to something lesser. So that's why I said that, we'll take it back to the ESCO financial team is here. They all have listened to it and they're taking notes. We'll go back and deliberate on this and see if we can propose something lower and bring it to the group for approval. So we're not going to, we will have our own insurance. We'll continue to have one, but the amount is what it's questionable right now. So if I answered your question.
Okay, the point I'm trying to make, I think you partially answered it, but what are we doing as the Midwest because I do feel, this is my personal opinion, I know the NVT bereavement fund is voluntary for each team to participate, but I believe that it's a very good fund and less costly for every team. And every member that there has a stake, meaning that we don't just do out money when someone passes. That person has to participate in that fund in case the inevitable happens. So I'm not quite sure if I made myself clear there.
Well, I think as member of the NVT Bereavement Fund, we can have that conversation at the back end. Anytime that you want clarifications and stuff like that, I think we will. Again, me personally, I always put the information out there. I think I told myself that starting, this week, I'll start putting it out in Midwest, so Midwest can also get the same information for members that are part of the Midwest Forum and not part of the NVT Forum, to put it out there so they know, so they can go back to their clubs and say, hey, Mr. President, I saw this in the Midwest General Forum. Are we doing something like this? Chipping ideas and stuff like that. It's a very good fund. It will be very helpful to individuals and to clubs. Actually, today we had a meeting that we're thinking that the age limit, which was 30 and above, we think that might not be really good. So we're working on something to include all family members regardless of age. So once we have that update, I'll put it out here so Midwest can also get that full information and encourage their teams to participate. So just stay by. We'll have more information as we go.
Right. Okay.
President, can I add something similar to this insurance stuff? Not this. We are talking about bereavement fund. I don't know. Maybe what about the tournament fund? Is there anything in relation to that? Maybe I don't know, because remember for my team last year we had a lot of injuries. People have spent money a lot. So is there anything in relation to that also?
You know what? Yes. I think when Humphrey was doing his presentation, I thought you probably mentioned, but I don't think we got any updates from Michigan in terms of their preparation and stuff like that. We apologize. We would put that out again. One of the things that we're trying to get, which I know that maybe we can try to bring everybody on board, is an insurance to cover team players during the tournament. It's very costly. Again, if Columbus have a better idea of what they did for the NVT, please share with Michigan. Michigan are already looking at something. So if that's that, we're trying to see if we can include that this year, that we have an insurance that will cover the players in case of injuries during the tournament, to help with that financial burden. So if that was your question, then yes, we're looking at something like that this year.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, Mr. President, Columbus did not, you know, the NVT has that insurance that covers everybody under the NVT. I think Gino can confirm that if I'm not wrong. So we have to look
Yeah,
at,
I
I'm not
think
sure what NVT has, so we can look into that, but Columbus did not go. NVT has an insurance that covers everybody for that tournament, being the player.
President Valley,
Yes.
my understanding of what NVT has, and then I don't know if Gino is on the call, maybe Gino can chime in here. My understanding of what NVT has is a supplemental insurance, right? So I think we should not oversell this thing because let's not give the impression to somebody that you come here, play, and then you have an injury, and then that insurance is going to take care of everything. That it's just a supplemental insurance. So maybe Gino, you can talk more on that. I don't really think the way we are thinking this thing, or maybe the way President Zege of Chicago is presenting it, is what is actually happening.
Yes. So yeah, I'm going to chime on this real quick, guys. So yeah, the tournament insurance that we can kind of walk on, right? So it's an umbrella. It's a policy that we can get for Midwest, all the teams or players, right? But it's not going to be a primary insurance policy. Okay. So this policy would always be a supplemental insurance. So basically, if somebody gets injured during Midwest Veterans Tournament and it's only for that instance, okay? So this is something that I would look into for the upcoming NBT in Michigan. So I have to reach out to various insurance brokers to say, okay, you know, we're going to have X amount of players playing in that tournament. Okay.
Yes, I'm down here.
Yeah, we've done so. We've done so with a lot of tournaments around that I've been part of. So they will give us a premium, and the premium, that premium might be shared between clubs or however we see it. I'll share that information back to the organization. But again, just to be clear, it's going to be supplemental insurance. There's no way we're going to get you know, a PPO like a serious hair provider to provide insurance for everybody. No. So if somebody gets hurt, let's say I get hurt as an example, my primary insurance kicks in when I go to the hospital to get my leg taken care of. And then if there's any out-of-pocket expenses, I would then submit all my claims to this additional insurance policy that we have for the Midwest tournament to cover what came out of pocket. So let's say I go, my bill is $1,000. You know, my in-network is 80%. My insurance pays 80%, and I'm left with 20%. That 20% will be covered by the supplementary insurance that we get towards we get for the NVT, for the Midwest Veterans Tournament. So that's kind of how it works.
I have just shared a claim form that I was given by the president of NVT for one of my players that was injured. I shared it on our MAP forum. Actually, it's an accident claim form. So maybe we can try to contact that same company to cover us or something. But that is what, when I reach out to NVT, they gave us that claim form that I've shared in our forum here so people can take a look.
Okay.
That is what our players had to fill and send back to them.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you.
I have a question, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Lionel from Michigan. So if, say for instance, I do not have a primary insurance, what happens? Because I know the supplemental insurance only kicks in after your primary insurance, right? Would that benefit me in any way if I do not have a primary insurance?
Nope. No.
I think it's an accident claim, like
an
tournament accident. It's not technically insurance. It's a coverage probably, but I think the ESCO can dig more into this by even calling the insurance company and see what they can do. Maybe they can bring on more.
Yeah, so guys, I mean, good points, guys. You know, like Percy Bertrand, I've worked with several insurance people on things, event coverages, you know, those type of things. So let me make some calls. You know, it doesn't hurt. I'll take some time. I'll make some calls to a few brokers around, fill out some information, get some feeders, and then I'll get back to this group, right? I'll try to let's give it 2 minutes from let's just say I don't want to put some timeline, but at least let's say by the end of this year I'll have some information about that I can post prior to any meetings. If I just come up with some good information, I will share with this team. But I think right now, something that can cover all the, can cover all the questions that are being answered. And how I'm going to put it is that, hey, we're going to a tournament. It's going to be something similar to what Presi Bertrand just posted, accidental insurance, right? There's going to be a premium, and it only covers that instance. So it's just only for those 4 days. We can do that. So I'll ask about that information, and then people have to pay, maybe it's $20 for it or whatever it is as a coverage plan, and then it pays, there's a limit of $2,000 or whatever, right? I don't know that information, but I think there's a way to figure it out.
Very good.
So I'll get all that information out to you guys before we get to Michigan and way ahead of time. So that way, because it's a big deal. At least that way we can, at least let our members know, hey, if you get injured, you can get some coverage there as well.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think
yeah,
time
is 9
is
o'clock. So yeah.
Yeah, 9:01 p.m. One thing I want to mention is that I know Columbus, we have appreciated you guys so very much, but I also want to appreciate the guy that was doing the I don't know, the guy at Columbus that was in charge of helping with, health issues, massage at the field. That was an excellent thing. A lot of people appreciated that. So hopefully, we're not saying Michigan, they have to do it, but hopefully Michigan can do something of that nature. Find somebody that is just standby for medical. If you need Tylenol, you need ibuprofen, something of that nature. We as a group can help with that. But again, there should be that provision, and that's somebody that I wanted to appreciate for the Midwest tournament. He did an excellent job. He was there, ready to respond. Again, people have to understand. We come to the tournament to enjoy the tournament, but some people just come and they are just at a particular position. They don't even know what their teams are doing, or how many games their team played. They're just there to serve. So that was my person that identified during the Midwest tournament. Did a wonderful job. With that being said, guys, thank you guys, everyone, for being here. Hopefully, President Zama, Gino, the ESCO will reach out to you for more information as we, prepare to come and observe your fields. And then, if you need any help, President Valley from Columbus is there. They've just hosted a tournament. Please feel free to ask. Anyone, any other president here that has information, please feel free to call them and ask, because we always want the best for Midwest. So with that being said, thank you guys so very much, and let's have a good night and have a good week ahead of us.
Okay, Presi, see you, man. Take care, guys.
I mean,
Thank you
Michigan,
very
on
much,
the time
Mr.
make a
President.
minute place the hot master. Send out some things. Let's be anxious and waiting. Even some promo videos.
I know, right?
You will get it. Don't worry.
Too dead. I beg right now, so that people they start talk about them before May they come.
All right.
Yeah.
President Valley, don't worry. It come.
Point noted. Point noted, President.
It come.
All right,
guys.
good night.
Good night.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Thank you.